Hey everyone, Sycra here, and welcome to another Sycra stream. Today, I'm joined by the usual suspects, Bob Meatbag, Flavia, Alpaki, Nick, and Dekru. Did I forget anyone? I don't think so. And I'll go ahead and post the link to the viewer magma in the chat so you guys can join in and draw with us. Cool. All right, so I guess I should start with Nick. How's it been going, Nick?
Yeah, so it's been going all right. I've been working on my project in my free time, which is a story that's been going on for several years and recently has taken the form of an animation. And
No, that's cool.
yeah, so part of that, I was just wanted to ask about if you're making something for yourself and making something that doesn't have an intended audience, and maybe if you suddenly want to make it for an audience, it changes, I think, what you're working on quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm not sure it's actually a good thing to. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's a good thing to make something for an audience, or?
Maybe, I feel like the motivation that comes from showing your work to an audience is quite short term for me. So you get the dopamine hit of showing what you're working on to the people that are going to like it, but then that quickly fades. Whereas if it's just for you and you're not interested if anyone else likes it or not, for me at least, I have a bit more endurance or motivation for that sort of thing. I've also found that if like my art style, I think is quite cute, I guess, maybe a bit surreal, but palatable, I guess, while the themes are quite dark. And I think that puts people off that might otherwise like the art style as opposed to the story.
Yeah, I worry about that too because I made when I was making Space Witchers K, it was very light and I intended it as a foil kind of to the darkness of the story, but I never got to the part where it shows that. So,
Mm.
um,
I guess I kind of feel like I'm risking betraying a potential
yeah,
audience with suddenly introducing these dark themes.
yeah. For myself, I decided like I would actually try to make a style that's a little more mature, just so it doesn't attract the wrong people who are then not supposed to be reading that kind of story. Like, I don't know, you start to learn how all these things are really considered um, in creation, like uh, kind of like logo design. Oddly enough, I used to when I was a kid. I think I've mentioned this before. I used to wonder why, like, for adults, why they didn't just name like change their names and make themselves like cool names, or like if they had stores, why they weren't cool versions of those things. So, for instance, oh, you had a pizza place. Why would you call it like 21st Street Pizza or something? Why wouldn't you call it like uh, I don't know, Devil Fire Pizza and have like a badass logo? And that's what I would do. This is me as a kid. This is me as a
Hmm.
kid, not now. Anyway, um, and I always thought like, oh, why would you keep your name as like Richard? Why don't you change it to like something cool? Like, I didn't understand with adults. Like, you can be anything. You're an adult. You can choose your thing. Why wouldn't you choose like the coolest things? And Uh, and then after you start to learn about what what these things mean and the purpose they serve is to inform the public about what they're going to be getting. Like, well, if it's the name of a street, you're letting people know, like, it's the pizza place on this street. Or if you have like certain, like maybe you have like vegan stuff and you have a logo that is very fresh looking and with lots of greens, and it sort of hints at that, like you're informing people. And then with the style as well, you're kind of informing people. But then it also serves another aspect. Like, I don't know if you know the character Bayonetta from the game series Bayonetta. But anyway, she's
I know
very,
how they look.
yeah, she's very like long, very stretched out. The figure is very stretched. And someone could say, like, oh, that's a really unique choice for a style, and chalk it up to like an aesthetic. Like, oh, that's a neat aesthetic to stretch out your characters. But that's not the main reason to have the character so tall and stretched out. The other reason is that it is easy to see the moves. And same with fighting game characters. Oh, they have huge hands and feet and stuff. It's like because they punch and kick a lot. You want to show the movement. You want to show what the character is doing. So it becomes like useful to build the style. Yeah. Sorry. I think I interrupted whatever you were gonna say.
No, yeah, you didn't interrupt me.
Oh, okay.
Do we have any questions?
I don't really see any questions yet. We got a comment from Laszlo Caddy. Says, I kind of always want to show my work to others in a way. I guess the rule is not to lose your touch in the thing you make for the sake of others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for that, hopefully you get a more authentic audience who like it for what you're doing. You're not pandering to a potentially bigger audience.
Also, a comment from some nerd. Sometimes, if I'm not making something for an audience, I get too lost in enjoying it that I don't make it good.
Do you
That's
think
just
if you
one
enjoy
extreme.
something, it's not good? Like, I feel like when you enjoy drawing it, that's like the highest chance of that thing being good.
Yeah, I find that interesting too. I've noticed it to be the opposite. Maybe they mean like on a very technical level, like the perspective's less good because you're being whimsical and loose or something. I could see that, but I feel like the idea or maybe the colors or things like that could usually they shine.
Or maybe it's you get it earlier, so you don't need to be so explicit about things, so you kind of leave it half done because you kind of already got the joke.
Oh, you mean because you're just doing it for yourself? You quit when it's like,
Yeah.
All right, that sort of conveys kind of like taking notes for yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
Like doctor's notes, how it's like, well, this is not for the general public to understand. This is for the pharmacist to understand, or whoever's at the hospital.
I feel like you could reframe your mindset on that then, though, so that when you get into those, because for me, when I get into those things where like I'm having a lot of fun, I'm like, oh, I want to share this like joy with other people. So like my friends, they'll probably be interested if I like make this look nicer. They'll probably have a laugh at it or something.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe if you aren't like motivated by something like that, you could see how it could just be, well, it's just for me. You don't worry about an audience. But
Paideia says, I'm different to Nick in that I struggle to detach myself from public perception, i.e., it's hard to do something for me. Any advice?
I think it's a skill you learn, right? Like you just have to learn to allow yourself to indulge in stuff for yourself and learn the value of it. Because even if you try to do something for yourself at first, you might not have fun because you're probably still subconsciously thinking about what other people are thinking because you're so used to it. But if you really like focus on what you like and try to figure out, you have to like learn how to draw for yourself. I think it's like a different skill set, right?
I also found that for me, one of the things that was very important was like, oh, why do I care about what other people think? Well, I want to do a good job. I want to do a job such that people will actually like the things I'm making. But then I found that doing a good job goes hand in hand with me not caring what other people think. Like, the more you care what other people think, the more you're going to do a generic job, but not necessarily a good job. And so I started to, like, the fact that I wanted people to like it was more incentive to not listen to what anyone else would think, in a way, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me. I think the more cooks there are in the kitchen, including your mental kitchen, the more likely you are to default to a generic thing.
Mm-hmm.
O Waker says, how do you get over fear in drawing from reference, especially people? Whenever I'm close to the point in the day where I start an exercise and drawing a portrait, I have this massive feeling of anxiety. For me, I guess it's the fear of getting things wrong and wasting my time.
Yeah. You've really got to get over the feeling that wrong is bad and think of wrong as good. Like, to get good, you have to go through failures. So you'll have to go through so many failures to get to the point where you stop making things bad. And you get good by having been bad so much and making so many mistakes that you learn, like, oh, okay, next time I'm not going to do it this way, I'm going to try a different way. And so if you love failing because you know that's your best teacher, then it's not scary anymore. It's like, yes, this sucks. Yeah, it's supposed to suck. Of course, this is my road to getting better. It's easier said than done, but that's kind of what I try to tell myself, is that I'm not sure I apply it well, but that the fact that it's bad is fine. Like, that I'm producing means I'm getting through those failures. And it's so much easier in video games because, like, I have almost endless patience to grind in video games because it's like there's the experience bar and it tells you how much until the next level. So there's this feeling of, even if I'm like fighting a monster that doesn't give that much experience, like, well, maybe I need 20,000 experience to level up and that monster only gave me 200, but at least there's this sense of like, but it's 200 closer to that goal. Whereas in art, it's a little trickier to get the sense of, you know, how much should I actually gain from this? Yeah. But definitely, if you can try to make peace with failure as opposed to fearing it and being like, oh my god, this sucks, so I suck, as opposed to, like, instead thinking of like, well, this is on the road to getting better. Like I'm getting rid of the bad drawings. Like maybe I need to do 10,000 bad drawings to get to the good ones. Fine. Now I only have to do 9,999 to get to the good ones. And it's not really, it doesn't function exactly like that, but if you can think of it more in that way. And then also really like, what is your point? If you think about, well, I want to draw a portrait and I want it to be good. It's like, okay, why? If the answer is like, because someone else does, or I saw one and I thought it was cool and it inspired me, usually that's a lot less effective than if you're thinking about some personal reason, like, oh, I really like drawing faces and I really want to capture this person's personality or whatever it is, but it's a internal motivation, not an external one. Intrinsic, is that how they say? Anyway, whatever.
Just to add on to that question, like I feel like if you can tell that something's bad, it's probably because you can actually see the flaws in it, and then can, if you just keep going, you'll probably figure stuff out. Like if you look at something and it looks terrible to you, you can just like look away for a little bit, come back, and you'll be like, oh wait, or just keep like hammering at it for like hours or something, and then eventually it'll look good, and then you can get to the place where you're happy. Because like so often I'd be demotivated in art because it wouldn't look good, so I would just like, all right, I'm gonna sit here for like hours until I like it. And usually if you just spend a long time on something, at least for me, it ends up coming out good, and then I'm not disappointed.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great thing that I also do. It's like trying, the way I think of it is like, think I'm always doing a paint over for someone else whenever I look at my image. Like take a break, then come back to it, and then if you're like, well, I hate this part, instead of being hopeless about it and like, I suck, be like, okay, how would I improve it? And sort of getting not afraid of drawing. This was taught to us very early on in animation school. Like, you can't be afraid of drawing. Like, you have to draw thousands and thousands and thousands of drawings in animation. So you can't be afraid of it. It just doesn't make sense to choose this career and be afraid of drawing. So you have to get over that and sort of be comfortable. Like if someone just, sounds kind of harsh, but someone just like ripped up your drawing, could you just keep going? It's like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then just keep drawing. Because if you can, that's a good sign. That means you're doing it. Like you're fine.
I had this imposter. I was doing commissions. I had this imposter syndrome where like I would start the commission. I would like be drawing a face, and it looks awful. And like I'm not a real artist. What the hell's going on? Like the body looked fine, but the face is terrible. So what I did is I pulled up a reference and drew the same. I have a couple time lapses on my computer of drawing the same face 800 times, literally, like 800 times until it like, just like quick sketches, like, oh no, that's wrong again. What did I do wrong? Oh no, again. Oh, delete. Oh, it's almost it. Nope, delete. Just doing that over and over, and then eventually it looks good, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm not stupid. It's just like takes a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking, like an analogy to this, it's kind of like, think about like if you're playing Legos or like Minecraft or something, and say you're like, oh, I want to make like, I don't know, like a house or something. You'll probably go in and try and build something with blocks, and the first time you do it might not look very good, but you have like an idea, right? Like I don't think you're like, when you're playing Minecraft or Legos, you're afraid of like, oh, it's gonna come out bad, and I only have one chance to do it, right? Like that's kind of like how I think it. It's like you kind of need to go in and do the trial and error to actually learn. And I think it just applies to like a lot of things, but I think the Lego / Minecraft analogy is kind of like what I can think of right now.
The funny thing I'll add on to this is that I can draw for hours and like eventually get to a spot where I'm satisfied, but I get terrible feeling of building inadequacy if I try to play Minecraft personally, and I can't do it. So I'm here like preaching about like the art thing, if it makes sense. But even in Minecraft or something, I have that too, so I can like understand.
I think maybe you just watch too many videos of the crazy people in Minecraft.
Like, oh, it's not like 8,000 blocks tall, like photorealistic replica of some like Japanese skyscraper with an interior. I'm basically useless. Yeah.
Okay, so a question from Jessica. What hobbies do you have? Question for everybody. Also, do you like staying up late more or waking early?
I have hobbies. Sometimes. I like to draw and listen to music. And I stay up late because I can only draw if it's like 3 a.m. And yeah, all of the above.
Yeah, I also I find I can like I have the 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. is like my sweet spot for anything creative.
Yeah. Like I got a job and I'm really disappointed because now I can't stay up till like 4 a.m. because all my best pieces just come like when I'm so dead tired that my subconscious does all the work and I'm not overthinking it, and it just, to lose that really sucks. So it's gonna be like weekend art for me when the good stuff comes out, and it's gonna be like brute forcing it on the weekdays. But oh well.
I'm probably like a very strange person compared to most people because I discovered like 2 years or 3 years ago the at least for me, the power of waking at the exact same time every day. Because I found that for me, like, if I'm ever like super sleepy, or not just super, just a little bit sleepy, I will like not want to do anything at all. Like, it would just like make me not want to do anything. It would just feel like really annoying too. Yeah, and so like I've been going to bed at like 9 p.m. and waking up at 6 a.m. every day for like 2 years or so now. It's kind of funny because my wife tells me like I'm like an 80-year-old or something, but I don't know, like I just really like doing it.
If it works for you, yeah. Like I think everyone's different in how all that stuff works. Like consistency versus like, you know, what they value, and there's some aspect of like night owl versus morning person type of thing. I'm sure it's important. I feel like the thing with like setting a schedule is that I have like schedule dread, where it's like, I can't start a piece now because I'm going to be tired in this much time. And what if I want to spend like 5 hours on this piece and I can't get into a state? So it's like, I don't want to commit to sleeping or something, or commit to, but then, so how does that work for you? Do you like, you just are like, I'm going to draw now at like a functional time, like, I don't know, 3 p.m. and then you do, and it's sufficient, and then you're like, yeah.
So I've tried a lot of different things, and like I've tried, for example, like doing pomodoros. I don't know if you know those. It's like
15 minutes and then like you take a break and then you
like I've tried. So Pomodoro is basically you work 25 minutes, or like, you know, the standard amount of time is 25 minutes, and then you rest for 5. You repeat that 3 times or 4 times, and then you take a longer break. I've tried that. I've tried like, okay, I'm gonna do X amount of hours or whatever. But lately, what I've found is that I don't know, but I just found that the act of doing all of that stuff was making my head too occupied. Like, it was just too many conditions too. It's like it was also like, oh, I want to do one of these 25-minute units, but I gotta do something, in like 10 minutes, so I can't do it or whatever. So I've sort of like gone back to at least what I'm doing right now is I try not to like do too many like super dopamine inducing things early, and try and just like do the thing that I want to do, or that is like that I think I have to do the most at the very beginning of the day, and then sort of like do it for however much time I want to do it. Like it's kind of like a struggle between like me wanting to, I don't know, go like look at Reddit or YouTube or play video games, but at least I try to keep that in mind, that my brain, like one part of my brain is constant like, oh yeah, let's just go look at a video, or let's browse on Reddit a little bit. But like I try to keep it so that it's more like not so rigid, so that, and also try and focus in having fun, at least when doing art and things that I really want to do. And it's been working okay. It's not like perfect, but at least I try to get everything that I want to do at least a little bit every day, so that afterwards, when I'm actually like doing the lazy stuff, like Reddit or video games or YouTube videos, I'm like, okay, at least I did something today.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what I've been doing, more or less. Like, I don't know if it's like the best. I like, it's just one of the things that I've been trying. I don't know. It's probably different for different people.
Yeah, I think everyone's like, my friend's been struggling with this too, where he's trying to like work multiple, like a freelance job on top of a regular 9 to 5, and he's trying to like, he's so tired when he gets home. He's trying to figure out he's trying to do the whatever the thing starts with P is that you were talking about, the 25 minutes off, 5-minute break, or 25 minutes, 5-minute break, etc., etc. And for me, like the thing that works for me is just like farming flow states, and I can't imagine like if you're doing that and you finally get into a state where like, okay, I understand what's going on. Let me hold on to this idea in my head or something. But then it's like your timer goes off and you go like look at Reddit or like lie down or something. Like I imagine that'd be like really disruptive. But I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. That was like another reason why I stopped doing that too, because like I did find like it was sort of disruptive when I actually did find this sort of like flow state. But I think a lot of people recommend when you're doing that is that if you're actually in a flow state and the timer goes off, you just turn it off and ignore it and just keep doing it, do whatever you're doing.
Right, because that's only if like you're really like forcing yourself to do something do you need to do that. But if you're having fun, there's no reason to take the break.
Yeah, I think so. I think the reason why how those like Pomodoro things work is it's a little bit kind of like what Sycra was saying about the experience stuff, because every time you're doing one of those units, it's kind of like you're getting like a little unit of experience right there, and you get like a 5-minute break, and that 5-minute break is kind of like your reward for your like grinding experience or whatever, sort of. So like that's how like it worked a little bit for me.
Has anyone made an app for your phone where like you can time yourself doing things and then you can transfer it to XP so that you can look at the end of the week and be like, oh dude, I'm a level 6 artist now or something, and then when you're a level 6 artist you like unlock the ability to be able to like buy cake for yourself at the end of the week or something? Like, for the people
Yes,
that operate on those.
there is. I've actually used it, but it's like it's called like Habitica. It's not really like that specific, like about like an, it's not really like, it doesn't have like say like, oh, I want to be an artist, so here's the artist class skill tree and how much experience. It's not really like that. It's kind of like you're leveling just a character, like like a mage, rogue, or whatever, or warrior, and you set yourself your like goals, I guess, like your dailies. Like if you complete a daily goal, you get a certain amount of experience, and you get to level up your like character in their like game, and you can get items and skills, and you get skills that will give you more experience and stuff like that. I think it can be good. It didn't work that well for me, I think. I've been looking for
weird, but
yeah, it is. I think it's kind of weird. Like I think maybe some people might get into that. I think they there's a lot of apps like that that really are into also sort of like making like a group. Like in that game, there's like a thing where, well, it's not a game. I guess you could call it like a game, but it's like a thing where you can be in a group of people, like a party, and you all have to like fight a boss or something. Like you choose a boss to fight, and everyone has to do like their daily habits or whatever. But if someone doesn't do one, it's like the boss does damage to the party because that one person didn't do their daily. So it's kind of like it relies on that.
I will never beat the fire dragon. Michael didn't do the dishes today.
Yeah, basically.
I see. That's pretty
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. I definitely like looked up things like that before. Habitica, I think, is the closest that I found, but I never really found like something that really worked for me. There's another app that's called like Forest, I think, that got really popular. Is just like an app on your phone where you can start planting trees. So every time you start the app and you say, I want to start to plant a tree, it basically locks your phone for like 25 minutes is the standard. You can change it if you want. And if you actually do 25 minutes without changing the screen on your phone, like to another app or anything like that, you get a tree, and the tree is planted in your like forest, which you know, it's kind of like a persistent little patch of ground where you can see all the trees you planted. But if you
so you turn your phone
interrupt
on
it
with the thing, and then you go on Reddit on your PC, and then
well, yeah, I mean, you can,
tree.
of course you can do that. Like it's not gonna like it's not gonna police you or something, but you know, the idea is that if you get interrupted, or if you interrupt the growing, like the tree dies and your forest has like a ugly like sort of dead tree or whatever.
Just to shame you. That makes sense.
Yeah, sort of. There's also other apps that are like, you give it your credit card number, and you tell it, I'm not gonna interrupt myself for an hour. I'm gonna do like actual work for an hour, and if you interrupt it, it'll charge your credit card like an amount of money.
I saw this video by this guy a while ago who basically he wanted to get in shape, so he gave his sister his bank account info, and he said that if he didn't do his, and like to message him every day, like, did you work out? And if he didn't do it, she would donate money to Scientology,
Huh.
and
Oh,
that way
yeah?
he would always work out.
And then she became his dom.
Oh no,
Yeah,
this
sounds
is
like
a
a
bad thought
scam.
for some. Yeah. Anyway, do we have any more questions other than our rant about whatever this has gone on for?
Yeah. Okay. Thomas Murphy says, a bit of a random question, but do you guys know of any books / videos that help teach anthropomorphic characters? Want to get better at it, as animal characters are kind of popular with kids' cartoons.
Yeah,
I don't know
personally
any
don't
book.
know one, but I'm sure there must be somewhere.
It depends. If you're like looking for kids' cartoons or something, you could probably just, like try to reference like Disney or like Cartoon Network anthropomorphized character shows or something, I imagine. But I'm not a big book guy. I wouldn't.
But I think you could, if you have certain children's books that you like the look of, or that you could maybe find those books at a store and study them.
Mm-hmm. Do we have other things?
Yeah, so O Waker says, thanks for the insight on fear and failure. Should I keep drawing the same reference until I feel satisfied with how good I drew it, or would it be better to move on to the next exercise?
As long as you have interest, keep doing it, I would say. Because there's something that happens with, like, I think you can keep grinding the same image and level up more in some ways. It really depends what your goal is. So, for instance, if your goal is, I want to get better at getting basic gestures down, then I would say draw a lot of basic gestures and don't worry about rendering or like developing the figure too much. Just do many things in that stage. But if your thing is like you're getting stuck at a point, especially if you're dealing with presentation, like I want this image to look good, then don't just start a new image right away. Try to solve the image. But that doesn't mean paint on that one image the whole way through. It might mean at some point restarting the image. So going back to like, oh, I did not consider the composition of this properly, and I should have solved this in a thumbnail stage. And then give yourself the freedom to be like, all right, I'm just going to do a thumbnail sketch. And if it's too intimidating to like give up all of the work you've done, if it's digital, it shouldn't be, because you can just save a different version. But another thing you can do is sort of like kind of hack your picture to suit the new, like make a new thumbnail, then take what you have and sort of fit it into that. And then often that doesn't look that great. So then it takes the white page feeling, that fear of a blank canvas away. And then you can just, okay, well, let's just do this properly and fix it.
I also said it in a misleading-ish way because I imagine it's like the way I would do it is, say I open like a reference website that pulls up gestures and I'm trying to like learn to draw the figure. I would like go through and do rough sketches until there's like maybe a drawing I really like. Like if it's a drawing I'm not interested in, I don't like the pose, I don't find the person very attractive or interesting or whatever, I won't force myself to sit there and redraw it 800 times. But if it's like I'm really like the image and I think it's like interesting and dynamic, and I'm like, dang it didn't come out good, but I think it's so cool, I'll like pause and then like redo it, work on it a bit more, and then maybe it'll look nice. But if it isn't working, I'll get so frustrated maybe that maybe I go to the next one, and maybe I just didn't have the energy to do 800 times or the desire to do it 800 times for that one, but maybe there's one down the road where I enter like a flow state and I can like listen to your self about like if you get annoyed by something, don't like sit with the annoyance. Like try to make okay. Well, if I'm annoyed, it's better to draw a bunch of random sketches than to refine something. If I'm like really pissed off, but if I'm really pissed off because it's not refined, then yeah, sit and try to refine it, etc. Just whatever your gut is trying to tell you to do or not do.
Yeah, and believe that you can fix it. Like that's really important because if you come at it from the perspective of, I feel very hypocritical because I'm just realizing I did this for the critique I was going to do. Anyway, if you come at it from the perspective of I can't do this, it's much harder to make any meaningful progress. Like try and think, I can definitely do this and make it better, even if it's. Even if it seems like I don't understand it, I'll figure it out. Okay, so this problem has a solution. What are they? And often the solutions to the problems usually go back to fundamentals. Almost always. The problem is like some basic fundamental you missed. My things don't look appealing. It's like, did you focus on shape design enough? Did you have small, medium, large shape distribution? Is your composition based on basic shapes? Did you get your forms turning right? Stuff like that. It tends not to be the complicated things we think it is, or we think it would be. Often it's a lot simpler.
Waker also asked, should I just accept that I'm not at the level of execution that I can draw the reference right now and bring what I learned to the next exercise? Would it be counterproductive to use the same ref?
It depends what your reference is. You definitely, like, sometimes people struggle with portraits and stuff because they think they're not good, but the reality is they picked a portrait with bad lighting, the values don't show clearly, maybe the colors aren't very good. The composition might not be very good. So it's like, okay, you're actually limiting yourself by this bad reference. You're looking like it makes you look worse than you would be if you were using a better reference. And if you look at like people who do portraiture and they use reference, they usually use very good reference. So it's not just like, sometimes it's not just on you. Like, oh, I suck, that's why I can't do it. It's actually that you're not, you're using the wrong tools, or you're doing an exercise that's actually like way harder than what it needs to be.
Some nerd says those apps feel like the equivalent of antidepressants. They don't deal with the problem and they make money off of you. I think, I mean, for me, after trying all of those apps and stuff, what I realized, like, I'm not sure, like, I don't really know too much about antidepressants or anything like that. I think the problem for me with those apps is that they kind of focus on giving you a reward that's not related to the thing that you're doing, like art. So it's like you're not getting rewarded for doing your art, you're getting rewarded somewhere else. Like you'll end up not wanting to do art. You just want the other reward if those apps actually work. So
yeah,
I think that's my problem.
Talking about those apps, I don't think I would ever use one. I think those, if they're good for anything, it's like something like if you're really bad at doing the dishes, maybe that could be good fun for you, because you don't. If you're the type of person who doesn't care about cleanliness, then doing the dishes isn't gonna be rewarding for you. So you're just gonna like, because you're not gonna get that. Oh, finally it's clean. So maybe something like that. Like if you care about like taking care of some virtual Tamagotchi that like smiles when you do it, maybe it'll work. But I wouldn't do that for art, because you should have like hopefully a bit more of like an intrinsic reward for doing it, if you're doing it something you like, which you're hopefully doing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I never felt, since I started doing the stuff I like, I've never felt like I needed to be bribed into doing it. Like, doing it is the reward. I feel like if everybody can find that thing, that just the act of doing it is enough reward, they'd feel good. but finding what that thing is can be difficult.
Mm.
Okay, irrelevant name says thoughts on piracy regarding art, courses, software, books.
I'm not a pirate, so I can't say.
It's my opinion, if it matters, would be if it's a large corporation with a ton of money, sure. If like someone published, they worked really hard to make like a course for you, and they're just like one artist who spent like months making it, and they price it semi-expensive, but like that makes sense. I wouldn't pirate that ever. But yeah, you know, Photoshop, whatever. But technically, I don't think any of those things should ever be done, and this is all a joke for legal purposes.
Well, like what I can say is that a lot of places for courses and stuff for art, they do have sort of like if you're a student or you don't have a lot of money, you can email them or they have like some sort of special program where it's cheaper. So you can look out for that too. Padilla says, question, do you think teaching beginners can lower your skill? Hikaru, a chess GM, has avoided teaching beginners for that reason.
I thought it sort of raises your skill, but maybe that's true, or maybe it's just different for different people. But I found that when you teach beginners, it is annoying at times, but you are constantly confronted with fundamentals. So I guess to a point, like, yeah, I can see how there's diminishing returns, but early on there's this point where it's like it's just good to be always dealing with like fundamentals in a sense, because it's usually the problem. I get this when I like do critiques, and then the problem might be something like, oh, you didn't think about perspective, or you didn't use reference. Because I tell other people that, then if I catch myself doing it, I feel like a hypocrite, and so it does help in that way as well, to sort of make sure you're following your own advice. And am I really paying enough attention to the things I tell other people to pay attention to? And if the answer is no, then okay. So I don't know. But maybe, yeah, there is a point perhaps where it's too far. Because I know with teachers, after a while you forget how much you know. You think like, oh, this is really basic. And you forget that, no, that's not basic at all. Like, that takes years to find out.
Waker says, teaching in general can also teach you how to teach better if you paying attention to the results.
It makes sense.
I think it was like a sort of a quote that everyone always talks about teaching, is that it was like Einstein or someone who said that you only understand something if you can explain it plainly with words, so like you can teach someone. So I think that probably helps a little too. I don't know.
With chess, it's probably the type of thing where if Hikaru or whatever is saying that he becomes worse when teaching, that makes sense, because if he was gonna spend like 10 hours practicing high-level chess for like every day or something versus 10 hours teaching low-level chess every day, he's probably not going to get worse, but he's probably not going to get as good as he would if he kept himself around the competitive people, where he's challenging himself. He'll be challenging himself to teach effectively, but he won't be challenging his skills, I guess. maybe that.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like to me that for a game like chess, it's like it might be different than, especially since it's like you have to face someone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it might get you in a wrong sort of state of mind or something if you watch too many beginner games. I don't know, something like that, which I don't think really necessarily applies to a lot of other things.
Yeah, that makes sense. Chess is weird. Who knows how?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know too much about it. So, George, Heraclius, and Pomegranate Samurai both asking what program this is that you're using to draw together.
Oh, we're using Magma Studio. And there's a link. If you scroll all the way up, you'll see my comment. I guess it's the 4th comment down, where there's a link to the viewer Magma, so you can like try it out yourself as well.
Thomas Murphy says you guys should draw virtual pets in the next stream.
What is that?
Like Tamagotchis or something.
Maybe, yeah, I think we were talking about that.
It's like Ragotchi. That'd be interesting.
And I think that's pretty much it for now for questions and comments.
Okay.
Cool. We got through them.
So productive.
Okay, so there's like these comments I didn't like, we missed them. So it's from earlier. Some nerd says, I guess that it's that I don't focus enough on the product sometimes. I enjoy rough animation and loose pen sketches, but it's like you guys mentioned with taking notes for yourself. I already get the feeling and it's diminishing returns, but knowing I'll show it to my friends helps me.
Yeah. Well, if it helps you, that's usually good. Like, it's crazy how much people know what's good for them, but then they ask, like, is that, like, almost like they're getting permission. Like, is it okay if I do this thing that's really helpful for me? Because I tried this thing that didn't help me at all, but everyone else said it was good, and it didn't help me at all. Should I keep doing that? And it's like, wait, but you know what works for you. You know what's not helpful. Why would you do what's not helpful? It's like learning to trust yourself, your instincts, what you found works for yourself. Even if other people think it's like dumb or that's not the right way to do it. It's like, yeah, well, or a lot of really good artists did things in a way that's not the way to do it. And I mean, it's kind of like school, where when you go to school, everyone tells you how important school is. If you don't do this, if you don't get good grades, or you don't go to university, you'll never get a job. If you don't learn math, you'll never get this or that. And it's like, shh, okay. But when you look at the artists, like professional artists, there's so many high school dropouts. There's so many people who haven't finished school. And I'm not encouraging people to not, like, oh, you should drop out. But it is something where it's like, just because a lot of people say it's true doesn't make it so. And often when you look at people who, like, who's giving the advice? Because what I often find is the people who encourage people to kind of do certain things in their own life, they're not even doing it. So I get a lot of advice of what type of things I should do as a YouTuber or an artist from people who don't draw. It just feels like, oh, you know what? You should try this thing because I saw this article and it said like, like way back in the day, it was like, oh yeah, they said like 3D is really important, so you should learn like 3D, and then you can or you should learn like graphic design, then you can draw pictures like in this magazine I read. And it's like, that doesn't interest me at all. Um, like, who's giving the advice is it's really important to figure out.
George Heraclius says, I struggle to internalize the lessons I tried to learn from studying artists and incorporate it into my style. I'm at a professional level, but I feel my style is unchanging. What am I doing wrong?
That your style is unchanging is not necessarily a bad thing, first of all. Because, like, if you think of style a little bit like your signature, why would it change? Like, if you found it and it works for you and it's what you want it to be, then I don't think you need to consider it changing. I think you need to consider how can you make it closer to what you want. There is this idea that we have to constantly be evolving, and if we're not, then we're stagnating. I'm not sure I fully agree with that. I think it depends on you and what do you want with your art. Do you want to change it? Is there something that's really bothering you about it that feels like, well, this is part of where I want to go, but I'm not doing it, and it's bothersome? Or is it more like insecurity, where you feel, I should be able to do this, or something like that? I've always wanted to get to the point where my style wasn't changing, because I started from a point where it changed a lot, and I didn't know how to have a style. So getting to a point where it's not changing would be like, oh, so you've actually found yourself. Because I used to, this sucks, but I used to look down on artists who didn't change over the years. I would be like, this was like when I was 15. I would think, oh, this person plateaued. And I would talk with my friends and we would be like, yeah, they stopped improving. They plateaued. Look, they've been doing the same thing for the past 10 years. That was really dumb. That was a very, what did they say? Hot take. That was one of those. It's fine. Once, like, consistency is really important in terms of just commercially or a career, because people know what you like, and also what it means is that you found your thing. You found what you like. You don't necessarily need to change that. If you really liked a style of music, and it's like, well, I liked this since I was a little kid, does that mean that you should stop liking it because you liked it since you were a kid, you need to grow out of it?
Yeah, there's this weird thing where it's like you're supposed to be uncontent with your art. You're supposed to constantly be like, oh, this is shit. I need to more rendering, more lighting, more weird tricks. Composition needs to be ramped up to a 15. I need to do studies constantly. It's like, well, what if you were content, just like you have a level of art and then all you care about is like the ideas behind your art, or continuing to make that, like you like you like your ability. You don't feel like you need to be any more fancy or know any more tricks, and then you just create and you live a happy life. Like, is that so bad? As long as it's like, if it's one thing if it's like you wish your art had more of something and you're like settling with your own art, like you're like, well, it's good enough for me, and I'm not gonna try to improve it, even though I wish something was different about it. But it's like, if it works, it works. Like, I know some artists who they really enjoy their work, and it's the same thing that they've been doing since like 15 years ago or something. looks slightly changed now. They use a different program, a different brush, but otherwise it's the same. And they get commissions because people like, we talked about this in the last episode, I think, because people grew up with them since they were like 10, and they've been watching this same artist who's always been doing the same thing. Now they have enough money, they're commissioning them every couple weeks because they love the art style too. It's
D-Man says, what is the most money you have ever made at once from your art? Could be a commission, selling merchandise, etc. You don't have to answer if you don't feel comfortable.
Like, I'm trying to think. It's definitely hundreds, not thousands. Like, I've got, I think, a couple thousand for a project, but not for an image. Not, yeah, it's in the hundreds for me, personally.
the most I've done is like, I mean, what counts as what? Like, I had some patrons on somewhere, and do you count all those? So for a single image, I guess like $120 or something for like a 12-hour image.
Yeah, it's definitely, when I calculate the hours it takes, it's usually less than minimum wage for almost any of the jobs. It's not, like, I don't know. There are some people who can sort of get out of that, but I think most artists' jobs are not glamorous in a way. They're like pretty low paid. And it takes a while to get to the high paid or higher paid parts. It doesn't mean you can't. Like, hopefully you won't be like me and just like when you're starting to get successful decide to change everything, but
I think also, like, for me, the reason I could probably be making more, it's like I had a pinup account where I was doing stuff for a while, and it was like every couple commissions it would be, okay, now it's like $30 more per thing, and I would still get commissions, and I get people asking like, hey, can you do this work or that work? And I just like rejected a lot of work because I was like working a full-time job and I didn't want to do this, I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't really want to do pinups all the time. But I don't think it's to take, like, with minimal effort. Like, I posted, hey, I do commissions one time on Twitter, and then like a couple people gave me some money. Then and that's what I got. Like, if I actually was really trying to like be a commission artist and did it for more than like 2 months, it would probably be more. So it's not all doom and gloom that you'll only make like $10 an hour or something.
yeah, for sure. It's not. Like, it's still livable. It just depends on what kind of life, where you're living, and then what you want to do. Like, I really think making money is part of a broader lifestyle decision. Like, okay, could I make more money? Yes. Would I be able to do everything I want to do if I go down that path? No. So then it's like, so why do I want it? I need to make enough to get by, but I don't feel like I need to make too much, because I just feel like I don't want the life that comes with that, because I've seen it. I know how much it takes to make a lot, and I look at the lifestyle and the decisions and stuff, and it just feels like, yeah, I don't know. But I don't know as well. Maybe it's just because I suck.
Wow. I think that's a fair assessment. It's like, if you're a person that wants money and you want that, and like that'll make your life better, then you'll be working harder and you'll be making more money. And people can say, well, eventually you'll be working less or something. It's like, yeah, but after after a bunch of 100-hour weeks, you can like have your assistant handle more of the things when you're like making it big or something. But it's still, it's not like
Yeah.
being rich is easy. More money, more problems to some degree. Not that you should like strive to be like poor and suffering or anything either. It's just like personally, I am like, my family was like middle class or whatever, so I'm like, oh, if I was that, I'd be content. I don't think I'd need to live like in the center of LA with like a fancy car or anything. But my favorite car in the world is like $20,000 or something. So I think that's a pretty obtainable goal, etc. You know.
Yeah. No, mine is 70,000, so it's attainable as well, but it requires more, and I don't think I want to do what's required to get it because I just don't care that much. But it's something where, in art, to be successful financially, often it's how the ratio of how much of an artist are you versus how much of a business person are you. And I just don't want that ratio to go too far into the business side because I hate business. So it just feels like, yes, to a point I want to be okay, but I don't know. Because there's also the argument that, well, if you get better with business, you'll have more time to do what you want to do. And it's like, yeah, that's true. And I've tried that. I've tried to be someone I'm not, and it just doesn't work usually. I just end up getting depressed. So at the end of the day, if the thing is like, hey, I feel like killing myself because I hate life entirely, is that worth any of the, yeah, but you'll make a few $100 more a month? It's like, no, I won't. I will kill myself. Like, this sucks. Your thing is wrong. This equation does not doesn't work that way. Oh, did I share the challenge things?
No.
Oh, or for last week either. You didn't do that right now.
Okay. So, do the challenge thing. So this one, I forgot last week. I apologize. I'm bad with memory. I'm sorry. But this was Nick's. The challenge that time was draw... Was it draw your character as a... Was it draw your OC as a fantasy or like a D&D type RPG character?
Yeah.
Or was it just draw a character?
I think it's your character.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, so this was a Bard for this is Flavia's, this was Nick's, this was Hex's, they did a Beastmaster, and this was mine for Karen, who's like a side character, and this was my brother, Azam. He drew my characters in Frazetta style. And this is Alpaki's Rogue. So we had that. And then the last one was draw... Like, it was just latex. It was just called latex, I think, was the challenge. And it was like, interpret it as you will, but latex. So here's Hex's latex character. This is Nick's, wearing like a cat suit or Catwoman inspired or something. Yeah, with a lot of I don't know what these things are necessarily, like I don't know what all of them are, but this one looks a lot like a old CD player.
Just old tech.
Yeah. And then this one was Alpaki's, like a, I don't know, what is it? A demon? A monster? Latex monster? Very dynamic, very cool. Feels like a Attack on Titan still or something, like just very interesting. This one was mine with Kay and Wasso.
That was fantastic.
Wearing latex. I didn't pay enough attention to Wasso here. I was more focused on making the butt shiny. And this is Flavia's perfect again, wearing latex. Got the reflections and everything, all the folds and stuff. So yeah, and if you're interested, if you're not on the Discord, it's a Patreon or YouTube member Discord. I think if you're a YouTube member, you get access to it, and if you're a patron on Patreon, patreon.com/Sycra or something, you get access to it, and then we do these challenges. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have more questions or comments even? Like, comments are fine.
Yeah.
We don't just need questions.
Sifter says, you gotta live in poor countries and work remotely to make it look like you're making really good living compared to everybody else in the poor countries in question.
Yeah, that's true. What's your point? Like, yes, and I feel like, okay, so I know, like, most of my family, I guess, lives in Vancouver, and Vancouver is notoriously expensive. Like, a lot of people's houses are just like $1 million or $2 million, and it's like, wow, that's a ton of money. Yeah, except it's not there. It's just like average. I think the average price of a home in Vancouver is over $1 million. So, like, my parents live in a house that's over $1 million, and it's like, okay, well, that's a lot of money. But they don't live like it. Like, they just live like a middle class existence, and then I feel like, so if you live in a place where your money goes further and you get to live you have a better quality of life, what's wrong with that? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's such a great thing to be in Vancouver, honestly. Like, it's a pretty city, but so it's like, yeah, it's got mountains, it's got water, that's cool, but it's also kind of miserable. And then people underestimate how cool some other parts of the world are. I haven't been to many places in the world, but I've been to a few places. Taipei was really cool. I lived in Romania for a while, and Bucharest is pretty, like, it's got stuff. It's not that pretty. Prague was nicer, but it's still like, there's stuff you can do. At least you've got trains. So if you don't like where you are in Europe, it's not far to the train station and go someplace nicer. But I just think, like, there's this, North America is overrated, honestly. And then some of these super expensive places, like, Bob, what was the first thing you said when we landed in LA and got out of the airport? Do you remember?
I think it was like the air is really stinky or something. Or I don't remember.
I think you were like, it's so ugly.
Oh yeah. I saw LA and it was just like, oh, this place sucks. It's ugly.
And obviously that's just one person's opinion, you know. Don't take it as like what you're saying. No, it's really cool. It's like, well, it's cool to certain people, but it's not necessarily like the best place ever. I think it's like, for some people, sure. If that's what you're into, great. But a lot of people, it's more like people think it's good because other people said it's good type thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I went to Vancouver, and it was a place that, I don't know, all the skyscrapers were all like, everyone said like, oh, you'll love it there, it's like so beautiful, and like some of the mountain scenes were cool, but I find the architecture really ugly in a lot of the places. It's like all this same era, like, what is it, like 70s, like green skyscrapers, but they all have like wherever there's a window, there's like a giant lip for
Mhm.
every single window, and they're just like these towering ribbed buildings. Certain parts look cool because there's like these archway shaped skyscrapers that are like you feel like you're in like Blade Runner or something going over like some overpasses, but otherwise it's like a little weird.
I mean, my brother lives in a pretty cool area, and it got like completely gentrified. So it's like a very hip part where it used to be like a sort of rundown area. So yeah, I mean, there's stuff there, but still, like, I don't know. I think certain places, especially for artists who don't have to work in a studio, when your choice is like, well, I could just freelance and work anywhere. I don't get why you would tie yourself to a place where it's like, well, I need to make this much money to get by, because it really is. What do you have to pay for the things you're paying for? Like, what is the real cost? And sometimes the cost is like, I have to draw a lot of things I don't want to draw, or I have to spend like 6 hours every day on social media promoting myself. You know, there's other things, there's other costs that are there.
Alan Funk says, "What are the best places to get commissions? Think about art shows to find them. When I have my website, emails are SEO people from me or wanting to buy my work as NFTs. I never get commissioned emails."
What work do you have out there that people are looking for? Because for me, I do get commissions, but usually the commissions are from specific pieces that I made when I was working for, like, when I was doing card art stuff. It's like, oh, we want stuff like this, as opposed to, you know, what I guess I would like in a sense. It's not just about what I like. It's more like, are you making work people want to pay for?
Chrono Demo says, "What would the minimal amount of business knowledge be for a small art business? Is social media trivial for this?"
No, social media is really important.
I think social media is everything, but social media isn't that hard, and it sounds weird coming from someone who, like, if you go to my Twitter, like, my current Twitter has no followers, but that's because I'm aware I'm doing it wrong. Basically, to do social media, you produce a lot,
And you've done
post
it
a
right
lot.
before, so you've got a point of reference, just to
Yeah,
make sure people
on different
don't
accounts.
think that you're
Oh
talking
yeah.
like, oh, I've never done this, and yeah.
So I have a pinup account and then some other unmentionable account that was more successful than the pinup one to some degree. And basically, it's like if you have some mind for business, it's mostly about like being shameless. Social media is really important, and basically just don't be afraid of hashtags. Retweet your stuff. Paint people who are famous and like tag them in it. That's how I got like 5K followers in like a week or something on just because I got lucky with the algorithm, gave it to them, and they retweeted it, and everyone liked it, and all that kind of thing. If something's trending and you drew it 6 months ago, repost it as if you drew it today, and with the trending tag. Like if if you drew a Pokemon trainer 6 months ago, and that Pokemon trainer, like a new card that's amazing, just came out for that trainer, you post your drawing from 6 months ago of that trainer. Ride the bandwagon for everything. Every portfolio day thing, every retweet this with your red image. Just like do everything. But then to make yourself not too obnoxious, don't like too much weird stuff. Don't retweet too much random stuff. But do like comment on other artists with like similar follower numbers, etc. It's like just trying to be as much of like a cheap gremlin as possible. like, oh yeah, how can I get my follower number up today? And post yourself on 80 different subreddits, etc. Like brute force it.
It's a lot of work.
Demon says put signatures on everything. I always wonder about that. Does that work?
Yeah, that's what I read from like art directors. Put your signature, put your things on the images so that when they download it and then they go through their folders of downloaded images, they can find you and contact you easily. They said that was a big deal, and many artists were not doing that, and it was super frustrating.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you look at like if you're on Reddit or Twitter or something, there's a metric that says link shares, and if you see how many people have like sent your image to a friend, if the likelihood is like if it's getting shared around on like some Discord server and people like it, if it has like a name on it, people can just go like, oh, I'm gonna look up that Twitter, and you might get a couple followers or someone who's like, oh, I want to commission that person, stuff like that. I don't usually do that, but I should actually start doing that. I used to do that with my other accounts, just recently I haven't. And I know there was one guy that DM'd me saying like, oh, I saw your work on 4chan or something, which is weird, but it's like, oh, okay, cool.
We got some other questions from Alan Funk related to the commissions. Does anyone get commission emails, or does anyone get spam product ambassador requests or SEO people wanting your money?
I get a lot of sponsorship things. I don't know if that counts as I don't know what. Sorry.
SEO, search engine optimization.
Optimization, yeah, I'm aware of that, but like, I don't know what that looks like. You mean they're just sending you messages of, hey, do you want to optimize your thing? And
Oh, I got those.
oh,
I
you
got a
get
bunch
those?
Yeah, I got a bunch of scam ones from that, and I got a bunch of scam stuff from, hey, we have this art magazine, and we've decided to feature you, and you only need to pay $300. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think on Instagram, at least I get like a ton of SEO. They're just like random accounts with a ton of art that they're like,
Yeah.
DM me or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
they do share a lot.
I guess that's the thing. I'm not on Instagram. I guess I am, but I'm not. Like, I don't do anything posted there. But
Yeah, I was always surprised people said that like Twitter's a cesspool, and I went to Instagram and it's like 100 times more spam and fake
I
DMs
agree.
and stuff. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Oops.
There's one comment here, and I remember just a second. Okay. Waker says, that's an interesting realization. I always considered a master artist to be one who can draw in any style, even copy perfectly. But I guess a true master or quote grandmaster artist is one who has found a style they love and other people love and want to learn how to draw.
yeah, well, it's very hard to be a jack of all trades and also a master of any of them. Like, that's why it's jack of all trades, master of none, because you don't have time to master it. And so many of the things that you learn are very like small tweaks. They're optimizations to a thing. So, for instance, you might find that you draw like fingernails a very specific way, and it's because you were like looking at reference, and then it's like, oh, I know I like these shapes, and oh, I wonder if I could apply it to a fingernail, and that becomes sort of like part of your style. But that's because you spent so much time on that style that you got to the point where you can consider such quote unquote unnecessary things that you might not have considered early on if you were just starting a new style. So I feel like, yeah, to get a mastery, it really helps. And also, when I think on the artists I admire, almost all of them are the same type. They're like, they do what they like, that's all they do. They don't really change too much. They might they do change, they do evolve. It's just the changes are more subtle. So why I said when I was like 15 I was dumb, it's because I was thinking like, oh, they've plateaued, without being able to appreciate that no, they haven't. And I saw this with certain artists I liked who people, certain comments, it wasn't like the general consensus, but I think it was a vocal minority, were saying things like, oh, this artist got so much worse, or they got so much lazier. And then I was looking at their old work, and yeah, it had a lot more details in it, and it had a lot more like lines. And so people were saying that means they got worse, but the way I see it, it's not necessarily that you got worse, it's that you got better to the point that you got to the part where you're eliminating unnecessary things. So you're optimizing, you're simplifying, you're making it a lot more interesting. So, I mean, maybe not interesting to everyone if someone really likes details, but I think there's a very high level skill in being a minimalist. Like, I don't think simplicity is necessarily a low level thing that you grow out of and get into detail. I feel like it's almost like, if that is where it starts and it goes like simple, detailed, and then back to simple as you get to the point of, this isn't necessary, I didn't need to do this many lines, I could convey all of this with one line. Things like that. And anything you want is possible if you're willing to pay the price. So I think it's important to just recognize if that price is worth it for you. So for instance, maybe you do want to live in an expensive city. It's like, all right, well, you just have to pay the price, and then it might require a lot of things. Maybe it means, well, I've got to really focus on my skill, or I've got to adapt what I want to do. Sometimes you just get lucky. Like, some people they just happen to like what also happens to be popular in their time. Some people get unlucky, and the thing they really like, it's like, yeah, this was popular 30 years ago. It's not popular right now. And you kind of missed it, which sucks, but it's just part of life. But sometimes the price, like for me, one of the biggest prices I paid is I wanted to know how to do many things. So I had this idea that art was all connected, that when you looked at a stylized thing or you looked at a very realistic thing, that they all existed on this big field where they're all connected in a way. There's like this web. And then I wanted to know how to do lots of things. Like at first it was, I want to know how to paint things realistically so they're believable. And then I was like, oh, I want to know how to get gesture in my work. And then, oh, I want to know how to draw like this style that I really liked when I was a kid. And the price I had to pay was time. So it took years and years and years. And some people might say, oh, you didn't improve at all. You were way better back then. It's like, but you don't know what I was after back then. Like, I had a specific thing I was chasing, and then I achieved it, and then I went for a different thing. And maybe the first thing was something they appreciated, and then the second thing is like, I don't like this direction. It's like, well, yeah, but that's about you, not me. My thing was just I wanted to be able to do stuff. wanted to do like all kinds of different things, and now I'm sort of like solidifying into the few things I want to do. But again, it comes at a huge price, or a price. Let's just say a price. Maybe it's not huge. I don't imagine a lot of people would want to pay the price of achieving mastery in more than one style. It can be difficult. And I don't think it's necessary. I think it was just a lack of self-knowledge on my part where I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. So figuring that out took a long time. Olan says being a jack of something isn't all bad. At least a couple of trades isn't all bad. Yeah, no, jack of all trades is very good. Jack of all trades is very employable. If you've got a good personality and you're a jack of all trades, that's like, oh, and you're also young, so you'll work for cheap. That's the perfect recipe for getting hired. Like, oh, you're easy to work with, you meet your deadlines, you show up on time, you don't want too much, like you're good, but you're not so experienced that the company has to like, oh, we have to pay you a lot of money. That's perfect. That's what gets you the most jobs. Because if you start getting too skilled, it's like, oh, now we have to pay you more. I'm not sure we want to do that. There's still people who get hired for those, but there's very few. If you're at the point where it's like, well, I've got a huge following and lots of people like my work. It's like, well, why would you work for a studio then, as opposed to just doing your own stuff? Because then in order to get you, they'll probably have to pay you more. So being a jack of all trades is not bad by any stretch. But I was saying that the artists I like to look at the work of are usually not jack of all trades. Jacks of all trade? I don't know. Whatever the plural would be. Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for this this stream. Want to go ahead and thank my guests, Nick, Bob, Dekru, Alpaki, Flavia. Bob, Dekru, Alpaki. Yeah. That's everyone, right? And then I want to thank everyone in chat who asked their questions and who's hanging out live. And thanks for everyone who's tuning in, whatever recorded. All right. See you next week, everyone. Bye.